Hey there, welcome to First Glance with Jody Vance. It is time to talk some basic materials, and I don't mean basic, I mean this is important stuff as we're looking for investments and trying to broaden our portfolio. And resources are a hot topic right now in any market, certainly. And Niocorp Development Limited is the subject of this particular episode of First Glance. The president and CEO of Niocorp is Mark Smith, and he joins us from You're in Denver, Colorado, Centennial, Colorado, are you?
Yeah, it's Centennial's kind of a detail. We just say Denver because everybody knows where that's at. But thank you for the opportunity, Jody.
Good to have you here. And I want to learn a little bit more about NIO and what investors or prospective investors should know about you and the team behind Niocorp Development Limited. Introduce yourself to us.
All right. Well, thank you for that opportunity. I am Mark Smith. I'm the president and CEO of Niocorp. Very proud of that role within Niocorp because we have just such a special project, and the specialness has been changing over the last couple of years in particular. We have a mine that's going to be located in southeast Nebraska. We plan to produce 4 different product streams. One is the ferroniobium, which will primarily go into the steel industry. I'll come back to that in a little bit because there's some other applications that are becoming more important as well for niobium. We plan to produce scandium, we plan to produce titanium, and we also plan to produce, subject to the final technical reports that are all being prepared now, rare earths. And the interesting thing about all 4 of those product streams is that they, historically, we've been using the notation of they are critical and strategic minerals in the United States. So the United States has a list of 30 some odd critical and strategic minerals, and our 4 products are all on that list. We got pretty excited recently when a think tank out of Washington, D.C. took the critical and strategic materials list and tried to prioritize those, which are more critical or more strategic than the others. And we come to find out that niobium, rare earths, and scandium are numbers 1, 2, and 3 on that think tank list. So wow, that was a huge bit of information for us, and we've been trying to advertise how important this project is because of these critical and strategic minerals. Life in the last couple of years has changed. I mean, obviously for a lot of us with COVID and everything else, but it's changed in other ways too. Our world is pushing harder than I've ever seen on this new green technology, green world that everybody wants to live in. And I fully support that as well, but we're going to need minerals to make that happen. And lo and behold, there's an advancement right now. It's commercially available, by the way, where niobium is used inside of lithium-ion batteries, and you get much longer ranges on the EV, and you get much shorter charging times. That's the holy grail of the lithium-ion battery. Scandium is being used in the same applications of lithium-ion batteries, solid oxide fuel cells. It makes planes lighter, it makes cars lighter, which means less fuel when you're still burning fuel. Titanium is much the same. It does a lot of the similar characteristics. It lightweights things. And then we have rare earths. We all want electric vehicles, it seems, these days, and every major manufacturer is coming out and saying they're changing their entire production platform to electric vehicles. And it's just a matter of which company and which year. Some are saying 2030, some are saying 2035, some 2040, but they're all changing. Well, those electric vehicles are going to necessarily require rare earth permanent magnets. And at our site in Nebraska, we have now finished our resource report for rare earths on that site. We have the 2nd largest indicated or better classification for rare earths in the United States. So it's a very important resource now for the United States. And we're already talking to potential magnet producers, metal producers, alloy producers, and automobile manufacturers about how to use those U.S. rare earths in U.S. Electric vehicles. And given all the supply chain issues that we've got going on, we think this is going to be a pretty big advancement for the project.
This is really something I'm just going to reiterate for our viewer or our listener, depending on how you're taking in this first glance episode. NIO Development Limited is NB, N as in Nancy, B as in Bob on the TSX. We're with the president and CEO, Mark Smith, and talking about the Elk Creek project. This is a very large underground deposit in southeast Nebraska that's rich in niobium, scandium, and titanium, and super alloy metals that have all been designated as critical minerals by the US government. And as Mark, as you were saying, also prioritized on that list of, did you say 36? That these are among the top one, two, and three?
I think it's 36 total elements on there. They changed that a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's because
doesn't matter when you're in the top three.
Exactly. It doesn't matter. We're top three.
Okay,
but
so
rare
I'm
earth
somebody
is an important component there too.
Right. I'm somebody who drives an electric car. I drive an electric hybrid vehicle. So especially with gas prices the way they are, so many people who maybe weren't about the green economy in why they made this shift. I was one of those early adopters, if you will, and sort of made my way through the hybrid to a plug-in hybrid. And boy, has that come in handy with the gas prices the way they are. But as you mentioned, like the shift is real. And pardon me if this is a novice question. As I told you prior to starting this recording, I am not an expert on mining. I am not an expert on the markets. I am an interviewer. So I'm going to ask the question on behalf of those who don't know all the things. Okay. When I tune into the shift to green energy and the need for these really vital minerals that are part of all of what we want in our electric vehicles, just as a one off the top, where we were heavily reliant on countries like China to be able to provide those. And when we get in conflict with countries, politically speaking, we kind of get held, I don't want to say hostage by it, that's an overstatement, but really held at the behest of those countries and what the cost might be associated for this. So that makes Elk Creek ever more huge.
You've just really hit the problem, and we are the solution. And we've got to put this together. And, it takes a while to actually build out a mine and start producing. So the sooner we can start, the better. But yeah, rare earths, it's I'm going to guess over 90% coming from China right now.
Right.
And we've got to get that switched around. China has shown that they will use that as a threat to the rest of the world. So, we need to deal with that. And then scandium, it comes from very few countries in the world: China, Russia, Estonia. Kazakhstan, and these are areas in the world that we have to watch, right? Because they can be unreliable. They can become hostile very quickly, and so we need to be careful, and we need to establish our own supply chains amongst our allies, and that's just good business, I think.
Yeah, it's good business, as well as it makes sense in relation to the lesson we learned about supply chains, not just with a barge or a ship being stuck in some major thoroughfares, right? But even just being able to move between Canada and the US. Let's just keep it in a North America sense. We really learned a lot about when the world stood still over these last 2 years, just how disruptive things can become without a lot of lead time. Preparing for the worst and celebrating the best, I think, is one of the lessons of this last 2.5 years.
It's a perfect lesson, and I hope we learn from it. And Niocorp can be a big help within the U.S. and with our allied countries along those lines for 4 critical and strategic metals.
So let's talk about the company itself and the $240 million market cap, an increase of about 60 million from December.
Yeah, that's correct. I think people are recognizing how the desire to get a project like this up and running has increased dramatically.
Yeah, it's really something. So Niocorp.com, N as in Nancy, IOCORP.com for more information. If somebody wants to get in touch with you, Mark, where in that navigation can they find you? You must be in high demand right now.
You're never in high enough demand is how I look at it. And I love to talk about this project and its attributes to society. I mean, it's really going to improve the world. So I can't talk about it enough. I think if anyone wants to contact me, the simplest way is either to go to the website you just mentioned, or you can do info@niocorp.com, and that email will get to me as well.
Comes direct.
Welcome every inquiry.
I love that. Okay, so Elk Creek project, if you want to look it up, or if you want to have a conversation about Mark Smith, the president and CEO of Niocorp Development Limited, it feels like another one of these perfect companies that are on the precipice here in terms of, for those who are looking for a place to put their money in a time where there's a lot of uncertainty, but that one certainty right now is the resources needed to have that green economy. And many people who are coming to me anyways, as I said, no expert on markets, but they're coming to me looking for that ethical investment. And where mining meets ethical investment, you can't have the green energy without those resources, right? So this is a very intricate puzzle, and I appreciate you entertaining my novice on what you're mining. No, it's really something. I feel like I learn every time. So Niocorp Development Limited, NB on the TSX, and the president and CEO, Mark Smith. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you, Jody. It was my pleasure.
Check back with us soon. Keep us posted.
No, I will, because I could go on and on. The next time, let's talk about how far we have advanced our project. I mean, we have full feasibility studies, offtake agreements. We have, our Equator Principles program all in place. I mean, we are now at the financing stage because we've de-risked this project that much. All of our permits are in hand.
Wow. Okay. There's definitely a part 2 to this First Glance with Jody Vance. I love that. Okay. I'll meet you back here in a couple of weeks. Thank you so much.
Okay. Perfect. Thanks, Jody. Bye-bye.
Bye.